Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Week 2 of the NFL season is gone and done. We're moving on to week 3, and there's already some major changes to teams' backfields that have just broken. There are players calling out their coaching staff. I believe there's even talks of coaches being on the hot seat. It has been a wild first 2 weeks of the NFL season, and up and down first 2 weeks of the fantasy football season, as well as some of the top performers, Jamar Chase, have not been performing for those of you that may or may not have drafted him inside of the top 3. Week 3 is ahead. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zollo. Joshua, Ryan, hello.
What's up, dude?
Hey, Joe.
How we be?
We be.
We be? Okay. Well, you know what's funny? I was actually going through stuff in our banners, and I forgot that we had this from the NFL draft. So Cam Akers has been traded to the Minnesota Vikings for a kick in the nuts to Sean McVay and a balloon animal later to be named for a certain price. They pick swapped in 2026.
Yeah. That was that's wild. When I saw that, like, Madison nor Cam Akers are going to be on the team at that point.
Who in the world? What was they being offered last year or not? That they couldn't get a deal, this kind of shit deal done last year.
Yep.
That we had to wait until a mediocre Cam Akers game this year, and then the whole league was like, "Now I believe, let's go get Cam Akers."
Cam Akers.
And clearly, they don't.
Cam Akers is dog water, as we will later see.
Oh,
yeah. I'm gonna just say stupid shit later on in the show.
I'm going to throw out though. I hate Alexander Madison. I've been down. He's supposed to be a backup.
Whoa.
Healthy Cam Akers could fit what Minnesota wants to do with their running back. This might not be the worst move for the 3 or 4 games that Cam
The dude had 22 rushes for 29 yards in week 1. He is done.
No, he's good.
Done.
Hey,
he's not going to be any better for this team than Alexander Madison is.
Was it better than Josh Jacobs? Did he have more rushing yards in week 2 than Josh Jacobs?
Well, yeah, no, definitely not in week 2 because he was a DNP in week 2.
So. But how many rushing yards did Josh Jacobs have?
Oh, I paid no attention.
So when you think about it,
he also had 5 catches for 51 yards. So
Cam Akers had a better game on the ground, not active, than the rushing champion of 2022. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's a steal for Minnesota right there. All right. 2 immediate questions to start: Goff or Fields? And it's a perfect segue into what we'll do for Fields, but I'll let everybody answer. Ryan.
Oh, Jared Goff.
Josh.
Jared Goff, not close.
Yeah, Goff against Atlanta. I would probably say that too. I like Justin Fields a lot this week. Not even just because of what we'll get to and what he said, but for the fact, I think he's finally figuring out that he should just listen to him and use his skills. What were we saying last year? Justin Fields should stop throwing the football and just run.
Yeah. Agreed. But when you're a young quarterback, it's your job to listen to the damn coaches and run what they call, because they're not giving you the leeway to make changes at the line of scrimmage. Justin Fields is not a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady or a Matt Stafford who have earned that type of role as quarterbacks of their team.
Well, I think that they should just go back to like week 8 when they played the Patriots and just call that high school offense again, and everything will be fine.
I will say this repeatedly till the day I die. Offensive coordinators and play callers are fucking stupid.
They need to adjust to the quarterback that they have, not have the quarterback and players adjust to them. So speaking of that, Justin Fields literally just railed his coaching staff in like a calm way, though. It
I was
wasn't
gonna
like,
say it's not all that.
no. I mean, literally, like, I mean, he's as G said,
He straight
just
up called
doing-
out his coaching staff. You do not do that.
Yeah.
Then he
His
tried
play,
to backtrack it, which I think was even funnier, but still.
his play has been robotic, as he has described. And when asked what the issue is, he says it's coaching. So, I mean, very clear. He doesn't look comfortable out there. And shout out to DJ Moore, at least, for torching Tampa Bay again for 100 yards. Thank you for doing that, and at least keeping that consistent in your career. But yeah, Justin Fields has looked absolutely terrible. I haven't seen a lot of Bears football because the red zone doesn't show them because that's how bad they are. But in the little that I have seen, it has been horrifically disgusting, and it has not been pretty to watch. So not great. Left tackle Braxton Jones for them is out with a neck injury, unsure if it's season ending, and their defensive coordinator just quit.
Yeah.
So he pulled
There's
he
a
pulled
whole
a
big thing about that. Like his house was raided, the Hallis Hall was raided, and I have no idea. Like there's the details around this are so minimal right now, but it's so fucking wild.
Yeah, he resigned effective immediately. So, and it's I wouldn't say defense was exactly their issue. It wasn't great, but I wouldn't say defense has been the issue.
Well, but when your offense can't move the football, it's going to make things harder on your defense.
And Green Bay also just owns you. Like literally, they own you as a franchise. I don't
no
think
excuse against Tampa Bay though.
Yeah. I mean, the run game against Tampa Bay, and hey, Mike Evans. I mean, what's up, baby? He's like up there and like receiving yardage leader. Let's go.
He didn't get that contract he wanted, man. He's hungry.
Right.
Good receiver.
Think about it. He has one deal left. Like he is playing his ass off for this deal.
Fuck yeah, he is.
Joey Burr, potentially out for Monday Night Football. Former Washington quarterback Jake Browning is in line to start. He has never completed a pass in the NFL. So if you're wondering, you also have the same credentials as Jake Browning to throw a pass in the NFL. So Nick Chubb to the IR, done for the season.
Pour one out for the homie.
I mean, just if
that man was averaging 6.4 yards per carry on Monday night.
If you did not see the injury, his knee went 90 degrees, but not like forward, not like backwards, like you know how you sit in a couch. It went sideways.
Yep.
So
I just saw everybody huddled around because I was working on Monday night, and I immediately texted you guys, what the hell happened to Chubb? And not a damn one of y'all responded back. So fuck both of you.
Well, first off, I wasn't watching the game. Okay. Second off, looked it up on Twitter later, like a normal person would. All right.
I probably went and looked it up on Twitter and then just forgot to get back to you.
Yeah. Fuck you, dickhead. Anthony Richardson is still in concussion protocol. It's not, you just has to see if he passes at this point. So
yeah, it's that whole thing where they have to wait for the independent doctor. It's a waiting game and you have to hope. The worst thing you got to worry about with him is after the first full practice, because that's when he has to check back in and make sure there are no symptoms. So.
Kareem Hunt signs with Cleveland. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
I got outbid for Kareem Hunt in Scott Fishbowl League, and I was talking with one of my other league mates who I'm playing this week, and she was like, man, that sucks you didn't get Kareem Hunt. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of happy I didn't because he fucking sucks. There's a reason they didn't sign him back.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm going to pour cold water.
Good.
I say I'm going to pour cold water on Jerome Ford a little bit later, but it's more about matchup. Kareem Hunt wasn't averaging 4 yards a carry last year as a backup. You know that's a big red flag for me. It's why I hate Alexander Madison. So it's a problem.
I did get Pierre Strong for a little bit less, so I was happy.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad pickup. I think he's probably the best pass catcher out of all.
Well, I lost Chubb in Scott Fishbowl, and my heart broke.
And
I'm already dealing with injuries with fucking Aaron Jones, so there's that.
So I'll say Jerome Ford went for half of our fab, which is $100 for Jerome Ford. So I
spent
agree.
75% of our fab in him on one league.
Yeah,
I advocated people to pay up for it. That Cleveland weather is going to get worse as winter comes. Ford, he looked like the real deal.
That bounce back run, that was, I mean, he tailed out. He ran out of gas there at the end. But that when he pulled that stunt, that was reminding me. Remember Chris Johnson did that. It was only a 30-yard run, but he did that against, ironically, the Chargers, who the Titans just beat this past week. We did that. He ran right and then completely bounced back around the outside. I mean, great job. That's just pure skill on his
You
part.
brought up the conditioning thing. It's very similar to what we were talking about with Breece Hall. Ford missed almost the entire preseason. He was dealing with a groin injury. So for him to be back where he is right now, this is exactly what you want to see. As long as he doesn't re-aggravate, he's great.
Yeah, he'll be good. Running through these
this week.
injuries and everything real quick. Jamal Williams needs some time to recover from his hamstring injury. Kendre Miller is probably the lead back this week, most likely.
Yeah, they said he was a full go at practice Wednesday. So.
Yep. Deontay Johnson and Budda Baker to the IR. They'll be out for a minimum of 4 weeks. Doesn't matter. Matt Canada's calling the plays. It doesn't fucking matter.
God, that offense looks terrible.
Yep. Jalen Waddle.
George Pickens looks good.
George Pickens is a fucking dog. I told you.
Dog.
Jalen Waddle is in concussion protocol. Mahomes restructures his deal, guarantees him $210 million for the next 4 years. So that's pretty good.
Not bad work if you can get it.
David Montgomery dealing with a quad injury. Could take a couple of weeks to heal. Could finally see Jahmyr Gibbs just be the feature back this week.
They are calling Montgomery day to day, which I found interesting. But then, they're also making out like Saquon Barkley could have played tomorrow, which we all knew wasn't happening. So.
Okay. Jacoby Myers progressing through concussion protocol, and Devontae Adams is good after taking a big hit. So waiting on Myers. Adams should be good to go. The Raiders also placed Chandler Jones on the non-football injury list. Saquon officially out for tomorrow night against San Francisco. And as mentioned, Cam Akers is now in the backfield for the Minnesota Vikings. That is all, folks. Quick questions before we dive into the upsides and the downsides here. I'm not going to lie, my trade value is probably pretty high. But it's
cut
great.
me. It's okay. I get it.
I was going to say, I think the cut's me or Josh. It's an age thing. I think I don't know.
You're older, so.
That's true. I think I'm the cut. I think Joe's the keep, though. You got the youth. Yeah, Joe's the keep. I guess Josh
my trade value is
the
high.
only thing I'm getting is a dozen donuts, baby.
I'm coming off a great year professionally. So. Yeah.
Hey, I just got a promotion too, Joe. So
I was gonna say.
I hosted 2 Savannah Bananas games. That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about.
You guys are doing great professionally, but I don't have to do anything ever, and it's working out real fucking.
That's
well
why we're cutting you. That's why we're cutting you. This guy's offering Trevor Lawerence, DK in Kyren Williams for Patrick Mahomes. Should Alec take it? Ryan.
The Mahomes side all day. T-Law has me shook right now. I'm not moving Patrick Mahomes for T-Law in any situation.
Josh.
Yeah, no, I'm still hanging on to Mahomes. I mean, my wide receiver situation would have to be atrocious. For me
I will say I miss DK Metcalf. With just having the 2 little.
I mean, that is a lot to trade, but for me, it really. I'm out on Kyren Williams. I'm not buying into that situation. I know, Ryan, you are.
I like him, and I'm still not doing this trade. And even though I see DK, I'm still not making this trade. So,
I mean, yeah, you're cutting 2 people presumably on your team.
Correct. And that's the other thing you have to weigh here, and we talk about this all the time. Who are you releasing?
Yeah,
add these 2 guys.
I'll keep Mahomes. I imagine too. You're probably if you're 0-2 and maybe panicking, meh. But if you're 1 if you have a win. Don't do anything. Don't do anything.
You can only be a game behind the rest of the league.
Yeah, like at most you're 2 games behind first place.
Yeah. And
it's week 3.
Mahomes can fix that with the waiver wire.
Yeah. Perior. I don't know how to say it. What do you think about Elijah Moore, Ryan?
The camp reports were high usage. That just hasn't really materialized. 10 targets last week, hasn't done a whole lot with it. They're going to keep him involved in the running game, and we may actually see more in the running game now that there are running back situation that they're dealing with.
Yeah,
I still like him, but you're still dealing with a wide receiver 3 with maybe wide receiver 2 upside. I don't think you're ever going to see him crack the top 20.
Josh.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts, and it really just boils down to Deshaun Watson looks like dog shit.
Yes.
Or, sorry, Joe, dog water.
Water, baby. It could have been dog versus dog shit, but I wanted to keep it a little PC, at least for the name of the segment. So, yeah,
shout out to my
Watson does not look good at all.
Shout out to my good friend Rob, who said Deshaun Watson has no touch that he hasn't paid for.
But did you see him chuck the ball into the padding in the side of the end zone after he ran it in? Arm looked good there. Arm looked good. To me, he's a flex matchup play in
Correct.
deeper leagues. I have Elijah Moore in a couple leagues. I haven't put him in my lineup, but I do have him because I do think if Amari Cooper goes down, very clearly Deshaun Watson is looking his way, and there was a chance Amari Cooper didn't play this week.
Yeah.
So he's very matchup dependent. That's really all. And then
and the matchup is nice this week.
Last one from Sean before we get into the upsides. Would you guys trade Kyren Williams for either Josh Jacobs or Aaron Jones? Ryan, I know you're taking the Kyren Williams side.
No, I'll take either one. Look, I love Kyren Williams. Don't get me wrong. Me and Josh had a mild disagreement about this on Monday. I love Kyren Williams as a solid RB2. Give me Josh Jacobs or Aaron Jones. I personally think Jacobs is just a huge undersell if you can get him straight up for Kyren Williams right now. Give me Josh Jacobs.
Ryan. Oh, Josh.
Yeah, I would favor Jacobs in this deal because I think he's a true like buy candidate right now. I think that with Jimmy G kind of, missing a lot of camp with the injury, he's still kind of working himself back. Josh Jacobs, with the holdout, he's knocking off the rust. I think this Raiders offense is probably going to kick into high gear as early as this week.
Yep.
But these next 3 weeks are going to be very telling for the Raiders offense, and I think they get on track this week. So, yeah, give me Jacobs all day, every day in this trade.
Go for Josh Jacobs and maybe try and get an extra player because Kyren Williams is hot. Josh Jacobs isn't. So maybe get a, mild
if you
wide
can get
receiver.
A true sell high, 100% do it.
Yeah, maybe get a mild wide receiver.
Zay Flowers hasn't set the world on fire, and I think that changes this week. So
yeah, no, that could work. All right. Upsides, folks. Here we go. 1 and 2 last week. I meant to say T. Higgins. Did I not say T. Higgins?
No, you spelled T. Higgins very wrong.
It's weird. I spelled T. Higgins Jamar Chase, and that's really strange because I thought I put T. Higgins. It was funny. I was going back and forth between the two when I was going to pick, but Jamar Chase had just lit Baltimore on fire every single time he plays them. But the one thing that was going to make me do it was remember Jamar's first game against Baltimore, he had 200 yards. T. Higgins had 16 targets in that game.
Yep.
He only had just like 5 catches and no touchdowns. So it's unsurprising that T. Higgins did well, but holy.
I know we're about to hit your upsides, but I just checked the show sheet and it's not in here. And this is my question. Browning is the quarterback. Are you starting any Cincinnati Bengal? I don't think you can. I know Jamar Chase.
You have to start, I feel like you have to trot out Chase because with with these rookies or young kids that haven't played, they're going to hyper target. They're going to hyper target the lead guy, and that's it. And the way that they've been utilizing Chase has been a lot of those quicker underneath, get rid of the ball quickly. I wouldn't be shocked if he has literally 10 catches for 60 yards this week.
But I think you got to bench Mixon.
Bench Mixon, bench Higgins.
Yeah.
Bench Boyd.
Also,
bench
just
Smith.
Going back to college, Jake Browning did have a good arm. And if you don't watch college football, I don't, but I do know this, Washington was the 4 seed, and he led them to be the 4 seed in the college football playoff. They got absolutely curb stomped by Alabama, unsurprisingly. But he did lead them to be the number 4 seed in the college football playoff. Washington has never risen to that height ever since he left. So he was very good as a collegiate quarterback. It hasn't obviously translated to the NFL at this point. He wasn't a high draft pick also. I think he was a 4th or 5th rounder. So, all right, my picks. Nick Bosa will finally fucking figure it out this week.
IDP talk on NPI. You gotta love it.
Well, because I'm sitting there and
Dude, there is no Andrew Thomas. This is if this wasn't a 5 sack, it doesn't even belong on this list.
Well, here's the thing. I put it in before Andrew Thomas was announced out.
Yeah, and he only has Bosa only has a tackle and a half this
season. Nick Bosa has
like that.
2 tackles and 2 assists.
Yeah.
He hasn't even sniffed the quarterback yet. Okay? He hasn't even sniffed him. So, Nick Bosa, 2 sacks. Week 1, Brian Burns was on my bench. Luckily, I won. Week 2, I had Brian Burns. I was like, fuck, Nick Bosa did terrible. Didn't matter. Brian Burns also sucked. But yeah, Nick Bosa, 2 sacks. Please, God, do it.
Love it.
Justin Fields, top 8 against Kansas City. I am so banking that
top
this guy runs for 120 yards. Just to give a fuck you to the coaches. The Bears will lose. I picked up Kansas City's defense. The Bears will lose, and they will lose swimmingly. Fields will probably throw 2 picks, but he'll have 120 yards on the ground, and that's fine. That's all that matters. Anthony Richardson played 7 minutes last week and had 17 points. Justin Fields can do it, all right? I believe. And then Jaylen Warren.
Sure, he can do it, but like, what? You literally just called out your coaches. Why on earth is your coach just going to say, yeah, let me rip up my playbook and then you win this argument? No, we've talked about this. Coaches are fucking stubborn. He's going to continue to try to shove a square peg in a round hole.
Watch.
And the Chiefs defense has been good.
Well, I know. That's why I picked him up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Justin Fields will be sacked 7 times, throw 2 interceptions, and still have 120 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. That's it. That's all I need. All I need.
I was gonna agree with you at 120 yards. I can't agree with the pay dirt. More on that later.
1 touchdown. Okay, a Jaylen Warren top 15 against Vegas.
I like this.
Najee Harris is washed. He is now. Whew. Now, I don't know if Najee's washed as much as his offensive line is just...
I feel like mentally these last 3 years have just destroyed him. Because think about this. This guy came from Bama where he could do whatever he wanted at any time he wanted. And now he's averaging 3 yards a carry.
3 yards a carry. And he's had, I believe, a bottom 5 ranked offensive line every year he's been in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's been running behind non-existent players, but Jaylen Warren is used more in the passing game. And
they used him a lot in the passing game against the Browns.
They used him a lot. So in Vegas is not good at football. So James Cook was RB11.
Yeah.
Jaylen Warren has a very good chance of, I don't know if he finds the end zone, but 60 yards on the ground, 5-6 catches, add some yardage through the air. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson has looked atrocious the first 2 weeks, and that is heavily on his offensive line. Let's get that straight. Because when the ball's in his hands and he has even a little bit of blocking, he's made 4 or 5 people miss. He looks great. But he's been a top 15 running back the last 2 weeks. And the first week, he did nothing until garbage time. So, Jaylen Warren could very easily make that. I won't get too far into it. We talked about Justin Fields. I do think he has... His team overall will have a terrible week, and he will still turn the ball over, but I do think he finds the end zone twice and gets over 100 yards on the ground. That's what I'm banking on. It's like maybe 150, 200 yards through the air generously, but he'll get over 100 on the ground. Ryan, the 2 touchdown special is out of this world right now. 0 for 6.
0 for 6. Like
0 for 6 this year. Now,
still only 2 games back.
Just for everyone listening, we see your questions. We're going to get to them, we promise. Ryan calls a 2 touchdown special. I see some new names. He calls a 2 touchdown special every week. He's been doing it for the last 2 years, and he does it for fun because it's never worked. Now, the last 2 weeks,
the jinx has flipped.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, the teams he's called it for have been correct. The issue is it was the backup to the person he called. So last week he called Jamal Williams. Is that who you called?
I've been picking on Carolina. There's a theme here. So it's Carolina again.
So he called Jamal Williams 2 touchdowns. It was Tony Jones Jr. who scored 2 touchdowns.
Bank on it this week. Zach Charbonnet breakout, baby.
Yeah. So Ryan has called Kenneth Walker for 2 touchdowns against Carolina.
Yep.
Which means if you have Zach Charbonnet, you should start him.
Fire him up.
Josh Jacobs is a top 5 fantasy play, not just running back, top 5 overall fantasy play against Pittsburgh. And Kirk Cousins and Justin Herbert will combine for 600 passing yards and 6 touchdowns in the Chargers-Vikings matchup.
I got to throw out real quick. I was just getting fancy with my words. I mean, Josh Jacobs is the top 5 running back.
Top 5 running back.
Of this game. So.
Okay. I don't really know if there's much to kind of... I mean, the Vikings and Chargers have looked just... the Chargers made Ryan Tannehill look good. Okay? Yeah. That's pretty easy.
I will say Minnesota is only giving up 183 yards per game. So there is a little I'm going to lose this there, but I think we're going to be all right. I'll just point out to Jacobs, while he did look atrocious last week, ton of volume. He's due for a big game. Pittsburgh is giving up 167 rushing yards and a touchdown every game. And Jerome Ford and Christian McCaffrey have both went over 20 fantasy points against them. This is the week. buy Josh Jacobs. We talked about that trade earlier. Get Josh Jacobs right now because you are not getting him after this week.
Yeah. Josh, here's a name I haven't heard in a while. Matthew Stafford, top 10 against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football. Miles Sanders, top 12 against Seattle this week. They are in Seattle. Chris Godwin, top 15 against Philly. You've talked about Philly and how bad their interior is. Avonte Maddox now, I believe, out for the year. Out for the year?
Yep.
Okay, out for the year. And that's their number one slot corner who was god-awful anyway. But talk about Miles Sanders, because Matt Stafford has a great matchup against Cincinnati. Quarterbacks have played very well against them so far. Miles Sanders has not looked, we'll just put it this way, Carolina hasn't looked good. Very simply put, Carolina hasn't looked good.
Yeah,
so you like Miles Sanders against Seattle.
Yeah, so we talk about this all the time. Running backs with volume, doesn't matter if you're not scoring touchdowns. This has been Miles Sanders this year. He is getting the volume. He's averaging 19 and a half touches through 2 weeks.
Good.
They've been questioning Frank Reich's play calling on offense. He's not yielding yet to Thomas Brown. Give it a couple more weeks. That will be the case. But with Bryce Young banged up, he's already been ruled questionable for this week. There's a chance that maybe they even end up starting Andy Dalton. Seattle allows the 7th most fantasy points right now to running backs and have allowed 4 rushing touchdowns through 2 weeks. If there is a week where this volume play pays off, it is this week for Miles Sanders. So I am in on him as a top 12 option because A, the volume is there and the touchdown upside potential is there. And when you're missing Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb is out for the week or the year, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler, still questionable. That now, the cream sort of rising a little bit. And I think there's an opportunity where Miles Sanders can sneak in and be a top 12 on volume. And if he gets that touchdown, it's even better.
Yeah. All right. To your questions before we get into the downsides, you're I assume, bum, which is true. That's very true for a lot of the people we talk about on the show. Allgeier for Kittle. Very interesting. So a backup running back with good volume for, a top 3 tight end, basically. So, Ryan, I'll let you take this one. You're the tight end guy.
I would have to know who the other running backs are. I'm not going to trade a top 3 tight end for a running back unless my running back situation is dire. I'll keep Kittle.
Josh.
Yeah, I would probably keep Kittle here.
Unless Hunter Henry is on waivers somehow.
I was about to say, there's definitely there's definitely some things to look at. Hunter Henry has been still not being picked up, and I don't understand why.
He got this proposed to him.
Give me Kittle here.
Yeah, I would also go Kittle here. That's I just think Allgeier's diminishes, and honestly, you're never not sitting Kittle unless he's hurt.
And he has Bijan too, is what he just chimed in with. So yeah, go ahead, trade Allgeier, get George Kittle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, go get Kittle, 100%. Buffalo boy, Kyren Williams or Kenneth Walker. Obviously, Ryan is going to say Kenneth Walker for the 2 touchdown special. He hates the Carolina run defense. And to add to Ryan's disdain to them, Shaq Thompson, their best linebacker, is out for the season. Yep. So that does add to the fact. Now, Shaq Thompson wasn't the greatest run stuffer, but he had speed to stop running backs from getting into the 3rd level, bouncing outside.
If you play IDP and Frankie Luvu is somehow out there, get him as quick as possible.
Frankie Luvu should be out there. Okay. Yep. First off, Frankie Luvu should.
Tackle machine right now, though.
Josh, Kyren or Kenneth?
Oh, Kenneth Walker. And that's even going with Ryan's jinx
the curse.
Of the week. This is an easy one for me. I'm not a big Kyren Williams guy. I'm really not. And the reason that Stafford isn't as ranked as high as he is among quarterbacks, because he's throwing the ball a shit ton. He only has 1 passing touchdown because Kyren Williams has all the rushing and touchdowns on his end. So I have a feeling that's going to stop this week.
Doesn't Kyren Williams have the receiving touchdown too?
I believe he does. Yeah, he has the solo receiving touchdown as well. But that was actually one of my notes with Matt Stafford being a top 10 guy. Since he tends to slow the running game, they've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown. They are allowing 4.5 yards per rush, though, which is a little concerning given how good their run defense has been of late. But They allow the fourth most to quarterbacks, and Stafford averages 320 passing yards per game. So I have a feeling that this is, if you thought Puka Nacua has exploded through 2 weeks, he's going nuclear this week. He's getting in the end zone.
I will say, I bring it up all the time. Cincinnati's run defense is very good when DJ Reader is in the game. And Kyren Williams, small guy. Gus Edwards had a great week last week. 6.2 yards per carry, 62 yards, a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, you always discount the quarterback. Obviously, they know he's going to run, but still, even from that standpoint, a lot of those can be scrambles. Justice Hill is a size comparison to Kyren Williams. 3.7 yards per carry. He had 3 catches for 12 yards.
Yeah.
You're not that defensive line for Cincinnati is a very good run stuffing defensive line. Okay. Logan Wilson, a very underrated linebacker. He's been having a great start to the season. I don't like Kyren Williams because of his size against them. Gus Edwards is massive. He's able to break through that line. Kenneth Walker has a good matchup at home. Play Kenneth Walker. Adrian, he's got Gainwell, Tattoo, Tajay, Quentin Johnston, Christian Watson on the bench. Who should he drop for Elijah Moore, knowing Amari did not practice today? Ryan?
Probably no one. If you feel the need that you have to have Elijah Moore on your team, it's Tutu Atwell.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean, unless you need to start Elijah Moore, I'm holding in this.
And Christian Watson should be back this week. So
yeah. Christian Watson's going to be back. He's not somebody you're dropping anyway. The only one I would make a case to drop right now would be Quentin Johnston.
Yeah,
because he's literally done nothing through 2 weeks. Although I do expect that to change in the second half of the season.
Exactly.
But again, like, he's a stash. You're picking up Elijah Moore to stash, right? Right now, I'm going to keep stashing Quentin Johnston because he's on the better offense, because I don't need to start Elijah Moore in this case. So yeah, I'm not rushing to get Elijah Moore here.
You want to drop him? I'd drop Quentin Johnston. 15% snap share. He doesn't know the fucking offense.
Yeah.
But
again, that could very well change quickly, because Joe, you like to say Mike Williams isn't making it through the whole season.
This is true. It miraculous that the injury fell to Austin Eckler, right? Miraculous. Okay. Somebody catches the injury bug in that offense. But yeah, I'm dropping. If you want him, I'm dropping Quentin Johnston. He's having a rough day.
And also, too, Wednesday practices typically tend to be veteran off days. We know that Amari Cooper has been dealing with this injury. It popped up late in the week. He was never going to practice today anyway. So
you can never, after what we just saw this week, you cannot count Amari Cooper out.
Correct.
The long and short was he was not supposed to play this week.
He was not supposed to play.
10 targets and owned the Steelers.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if if the only practice he has this week is like Friday.
Yep, the walkthrough.
Keiko, standard 10-man. Would you trade away DK for Najee and Amari Cooper? Would you trade Metcalf for Amari Cooper and then the kicker is Najee Harris? It's literally Metcalf for Cooper. I think Metcalf has a
running back. I make that trade.
I think Metcalf has a higher touchdown upside. So I would stay with the Metcalf side. Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to stay with Metcalf. I mean, I feel like right now everybody's just trying to get whatever the hell they can right now for Najee, and this is just kind of a throw-in to get a better one.
Literally a throw-in.
Yeah. Give me Metcalf.
Yeah. Lee, what up, man? Allgeier or Akers standard rest of the season?
What a crazy question.
Allgeier.
You're looking for touchdown upside in a standard league. Give me Tyler Allgeier.
The Vikings have 69 rushing yards on the season. Allgeier.
Yeah, this isn't even close. It's Tyler Allgeier.
Yeah, not even close. TS, Joshua Kelley, Dameon Pierce. What a disappointment he's been so far. Or Gus Edwards in a PPR. The Chargers go into Minnesota. The Texans go into Jacksonville. And Baltimore is home against Indianapolis. So decent matchups across the board, I guess. Dameon Pierce, not so much. So Kelley, Edwards, I mean, is really what you're looking at. That Houston run game has looked terrible so far. Ryan?
Yeah, no way I'm playing Pierce. Give me Gus Bus for rolling the touchdown.
Josh?
Yeah, this is Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards, Josh Kelley looked horrific last week. Granted, Tennessee's run defense has been good so far, but still. Adrian, Last question before we go into our downsides. Is Kyren Williams a league winner? Ryan.
I love Kyren Williams. Do not get me wrong, but he is what he is. He is RB 25 to RB 15. Do not let what's happened in these first 2 weeks fool you. He might score 8 touchdowns this season. He's already scored 4 of them. So he is a solid RB2. He is not a league winner.
Josh.
Fuck no.
Yeah, Josh hates him.
I'm not a Kyren Williams fan. It's not that I hate him. I just think that his value right now is just being way overblown.
Yeah. Let me be clear. We didn't really talk about that on Monday where you and I kind of went at it a little bit. If you can get Josh Jacobs, if you can get a top 10 running back from last year from Kyren Williams, make that trade. That's how he's a league winner. When you flip that value right now at its peak, Kyren Williams is a league winner.
He's good. You can't expect that every week. Kyren Williams is Kyren Williams for a reason.
Yeah.
He was on nobody's radar until after week 1, unless you're in Dynasty, obviously. But in a redraft, he was on the waiver wire for a reason. He's good. Don't put too much stock into
Just want to
Kyren
throw out
Williams.
there. I was not in the waiver wire in a single league I was in because I didn't let that happen.
Fair. All right. Downsides. I want to apologize. All right. I want to apologize.
Real quick, we do have a lot more questions in the chat, guys. We see you. There's a lot of new names. We're greatly appreciative. We will get through this. We promise.
Yeah.
Yep. Our downside. I want to apologize for last week. Sam Howell, great game. Not expecting that. Kirko really whipped your dick out on that one on Thursday Night Football.
Try to tell you.
And Mike Williams, congratulations. You were a wide receiver too. I'm proud of you, buddy. Proud of you. Goose egg last week. Here we go. Mike Evans outside the top 30 against Philadelphia. I just think it's more so the offensive line of Tampa that struggles more.
Top 15 wide receiver this week. Bank on
it. We'll see. We'll see. I'm doubling down on the outside receiver.
And it's not gonna look good for you.
No, probably not. Well, I might go 0-3 again because I have James Conner less than 25 rushing yards.
Ooh, this might be
bold.
This might be the boldest downside we've ever had.
Less than 25 rushing yards against the Dallas Cowboys. Is it bolder than this? Brandon Staley will lose to Minnesota and get fired.
That's fun. We're talking actually,
fun.
Yeah.
That one I think you're okay
manifesting
being wrong on because we all know how much we hate Brandon Staley and want to see him gone. But yeah, the James Conner one, that is bold.
If you're right about the Brandon Staley thing, it's fun. If you're right about the James Conner thing, you look fucking good.
I've been a notorious James Conner hater. I don't like the Arizona offensive line. I don't like their offense. We're gonna fucking argue with what Dallas has done so far. Like, they have just been unbelievable. So yes, very bold for the 25 yards. I was like, I could do like 35 and it would still be cool. No, 25. So we'll see. But I do not like Arizona at all this week. And they are at home too. Dallas is on the road. Ryan 2-1 last week. You have DK and Tyler Lockett combined for scoring less than 25 fantasy points against Carolina. Jerome Ford finishes outside the top 25 for running backs against Tennessee. And the no touchdown special goes to the Chicago Bears offense. Very fair enough. Talk about DK and Tyler. We talked about Tennessee has been looked very good on the ground so far in terms of their run defense.
Yeah.
Chicago's looked like a pile of shit.
It's the other way around. So if you look at the 2 picks, I'm picking on the funnel defenses. I don't like Jerome Ford because you are going to throw the ball against Tennessee. I don't like DK and Tyler because you don't have to throw the ball against Carolina. Your teams run the ball against them. It's a funnel defense. They're only allowing 21.8 fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position. No single wide receiver has crossed 15 points against them. These two together are only averaging 14 each. That's 28, but Geno's been spotty. I don't think you're going to put the ball in his hands if you don't have to. I think maybe, to jinx my own pick, we haven't seen a big Zach Charbonnet game. I think this is a game where they're going to go out there and run these 2 running backs and see what they have in them. There's no need to put the ball in the air against this defense.
Yep. Josh, 1-2 last week. Back on the Rachaad White bullshit. Outside the top 25 against Philly. It really should be outside like the top 36.
No, I wanted to go top 25. Because what I'm trying to do, I'm looking at like Fantasy Pros consensus rankings and kind of seeing where like he's lining up with the consensus versus where he's ranked overall through the season. And I feel like top 25 is that kind of bridge because again, he is a starting running back.
Sure. Yeah, he is. He is. Jordan Love outside the top 20 against New Orleans. Darren Waller outside the top 10 in San Francisco. Green Bay struggled a little bit last week. Jordan Love with the QB no sneak in that game.
That was embarrassing.
That was embarrassing. Darren Waller outside the top 10 against San Fran. They are in San Francisco. They stayed on the West Coast. They are flying to San Francisco tonight after staying in Phoenix since Sunday. Coming off a, franchise best game back. Darren Waller was involved in that game in the second half when they finally put shit together. I imagine you think New York reverts back to week 1 New York and gets absolutely curb stomped against San Francisco.
Well, yes, they're going to get curb stomped, but losing your right tackle, which is not great considering your offensive line is very banged up. The 49ers have a really good defensive line. They're going to bring a lot of heat on Daniel Jones. And without your best 1B on offense in Saquon Barkley, all of the attention now slides to Darren Waller. They're going to move him around a lot. They want to try to get as many mismatches as they can. But this is just like San Francisco bottles up tight ends. And just on slot routes, when tight ends are lined up there, they're allowing 4 fantasy points per game out of the slot. Darren Waller runs just over 45% of his routes from the slot. This is a no contest for me. Even as the number 1 option in this offense, I'm like, you're still starting Darren Waller if you have him. You're not confident starting him this week.
He's being covered by the best coverage linebacker arguably ever seen in the NFL, Fred Warner. So let's fly through these questions. You're a bum. So now he asks what he does with Sam Laporta. That was the Allgeier for Kittle trade. We're telling him to go get Kittle. He has Laporta on his roster. So does that change anybody's mind or idea? No?
No, I would trade Allgeier, get Kittle, and then I'd flip Kittle for a better running back. That's what I would do.
Flip Kittle or Laporta?
Either or. Honestly, I have more faith. I have more faith in Laporta than I do Kittle.
So bring in Kittle on the value that this guy screwed up on and go get a better running back.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Crisscross.
I love it.
RGQ. Who does he start? Waller? Well, definitely. Okay. Well, I think this is a pretty solid answer across the board.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry. He is like the number 1 option in that offense right now.
Yep. But fucking time we used him with all the money we're giving him. ASDAFG Hop. 12-man full PPR. He's got T-Law and Baker. Running backs are not looking pretty. Saquon, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Jerome Ford. Receivers Devontae, Parker, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, Jacoby Myers. He's got Kelsey and Gerald Everett. The owner of A.J. Brown is desperate. What can I give up? He wants running backs. Well, here's the issue. You don't
are kind of slim too.
Yeah. You can't give up any running backs.
Yeah, because right now your only starting running backs for week 3 are Breece Hall, who really is in a split and seeing limited touches. And although I think he's going to have a really good week this week because he 4 touches calling out his coach. Yeah, well, that too. And then Jerome Ford, I'm not expecting a big game from him at all this week.
Yeah, to be fair, you probably don't want to start Jerome Ford this week, but you kind of have to.
But you have to, yeah. I mean, if these are the only 4 running backs you have on your roster, you have to start Ford.
So the Amari Cooper is also on waivers. So honestly, fuck AJ Brown.
Yeah, just go get Cooper.
Just go get Cooper. If you really wanted AJ Brown, maybe sell Breece Hall and go get AJ Brown and just find a fill-in.
You need to see who, we need to know who the other guy has at running back, because you can't do a running back for AJ Brown straight up. Your roster doesn't allow that. You need it to be AJ Brown and a running back for Breece Hall and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. Also, get get Gerald Everett off your team, you're never starting him.
Yeah, go get Amari Cooper for Gerald Everett right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Austin, Watts can't throw the ball to Cooper anyway, so who cares if he practices? Very true.
As we yell at someone to go sign Amari Cooper.
Yeah, literally. Go fucking sign him. Keiko again, Drake London on the wire in a 10-man standard. Is he worth picking up and dropping Gabe Davis?
I feel like they're kind of the same player.
Here's the thing. We're a very anti-Gabe Davis show. And some of us are very pro Drake London.
I'm in the middle with London, and I don't hate Davis as much as you either, but I would say they're about the same player, and they're also about the same player this week with the two matchups they have. So
it's a standard.
Here's the thing.
So
I think
really
London
hard.
will score more touchdowns this year. Gabe Davis will have more yards this year. That's what I think.
Yeah.
So
kind of
Drake London. So Drake London.
I'd go London.
Yeah, in a stand. I would also go London. I like Drake London a lot more.
I mean, you're never going to know when to start either of them, so it really doesn't matter.
Gabe Davis fucking blows. Please put that on the screen. Yep, it's on the screen.
You're welcome, Jay.
Gabe Davis fucking blows. Ford in Roshan was taken due to waiver position. Any other running backs to pivot to stash? He wants to drop Jamal Williams. I will go to my 12-team league and just see.
Yeah, while you're looking your league up, the Baltimore Ravens running backs were out there in way too many leagues. Zach Moss is still a nice play for the next couple of weeks. Roshan Johnson, don't love him this week, but I think he's a decent play. Tyjae Spears is getting a lot of snaps for the Tennessee Titans. So if you're looking for running backs, you're looking for guys who could pop later on. If you want the next Jerome Ford, it's Tyjae Spears, because if Derrick Henry goes down, they're giving that kid all of the run. So
I like that.
I do love Tyjae Spears. I just drafted him late in a lot of leagues because I did see the run he was getting, and he did look like he had some skill in the preseason. If you want maybe a little more of a, I guess, sure thing this week, Kendre Miller is the only healthy running back in New Orleans.
Yeah,
so if you want somebody this week, go get Kendre Miller, and he looked good as well. Not just in college, but in the preseason too. I mean, that's really it. I'm looking at rostership and ESPN leagues.
Running back is thin.
Running back is very thin. You're looking at Tyjae Spears, Kendre Miller.
If you want to dart throw Eric Gray,
yep,
you're not starting him this week, but
Elijah Mitchell.
Somebody that
Elijah Mitchell has been
Mitchell's
popping
done
up.
nothing.
I know, but he's been popping. I don't like it for record, but hey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire on there, 7.7% rostership right there. See,
7.7% too much.
How about so he's looking for a stash. Is Sean Tucker worth it at all?
Yes.
For volume, but the team, they can't run the football.
They can't run the football at all. That has been Tampa's issue for the last 3 seasons. They cannot run.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem, in all honesty, is that the way that Sean Tucker is built, I don't think he's going to be like a high efficient kind of back.
No, he's a volume guy.
Yeah, he's a volume guy. And as long as Rachaad White doesn't fumble the football 3 times in 2 games, Tucker's not going to get a chance to be the volume guy. But this would work so much better in Tampa if Tucker was the volume guy and Rachaad White was the efficient
change of pace
third
down back, change of pace guy. That would work so much better on this offense, but I don't know that they're going to realize that till maybe like week 15.
Yeah. Tucker is a bowling ball. He's 5'10", 210 pounds. That is a bowling ball of a human. So yeah, he'll get his run. I just want to throw it out there because I know that's a name that's been floated a couple times.
I have Tucker stashed in quite a few teams, but I've also had to drop him in a couple because it just right now the snaps just aren't there.
Yep, exactly. Matthew said he traded Lamar, DeAndre Swift, and D-Hop for Ridley and Fields. His starters are now Anthony Richardson and Fields. I imagine this is a two quarterback league. Henry Mixon, Ridley, DK, Pat Freiermuth, Terry McLaurin with Gabe Davis, Josh Kelley, P. Ryan, Luke Musgrave, and Dubs on the bench in a 12-team half PPR. He was 0-2, so he said he needed to do something. I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, nothing to hate about the trade whatsoever.
No, I think even obviously Fields isn't looking great right now, but you're hoping that he just gets his run literally back on.
You're really betting that DeAndre Swift wasn't what we saw last week in this trade. That's your only danger here, because if DeAndre Swift was what we saw last week, you're not going to like this trade at the end of the year. But you needed the upgrade at wide receiver. I was looking your team over when you sent this question in. You needed the upgrade at wide receiver. You need Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon to stay healthy. Ridley certainly helps your starting lineup. It was the right move.
I'm good with it. I like it.
I don't hate that Henry and Mixon are your starting running backs.
Yeah.
Running back's a little thin, but I would have much rather preferred to have the upside of Swift within this group, but I get it. Sometimes you just have to make changes.
Yeah.
Hope for the best. So, yeah.
RGQ asking what caliber player can he get for Hunter Henry?
I'm actually glad this question was brought up, because I've been talking with a friend who she's been asking me, I want to get Hunter Henry. Who can I trade? Here are my running backs. And she's dealing with David Montgomery. She has Alvin Kamara and who's the other one? Let me pull up the conversation. Give me a second.
While he's bringing it up, here's the issue. For the trader of Hunter Henry, you are at the whim of your league, because Hunter Henry inexplicably is still available in more than 50% of fantasy leagues right now, or right at 50%. The fantasy world is not putting the value on Hunter Henry that he is showing on the field right now. So you need to attack a desperate team and look for a player who you believe is better and is playing like shit right now, because you're not going to get fair value on Hunter Henry, plain and simple.
So her RBs are Najee, David Montgomery, Kyren Williams. I told her I personally would trade Kyren Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that.
If you can pull that off and just utilize
get something else back.
Agreed.
As a buyer of Hunter Henry,
but she wants to get rid of Najee. I'm like, look, if you can trade Najee and get Hunter Henry, do it. I don't think the manager that is receiving Najee is going to want Najee.
I disagree. I love tight ends, and if I have Hunter Henry in a tradable position, I'll trade Hunter Henry for a running back right now. I don't think the trade value is there for Hunter Henry. It should be. Don't get me wrong.
I agree. It should be. She's also a Patriots fan, wants Hunter Henry, so there's that. But
I'm a Patriots fan. I barely want any of my players. Jeez. God. You know what I want? Cole Strange. That's what I want.
There you go.
Left guard. Start 3.5 PPR. AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Calvin Ridley, Puka, Nacua. Never thought this would be a question. So essentially, who are you sitting in a half PPR between these four guys? Philly will see Tampa Bay on Monday night. The Cowboys go to Arizona. Jacksonville is at home against Houston. Puka, the other Monday night game against Cincinnati. Really good matchups across the board. Ryan.
This hurts.
I know it sucks to keep having Puka Nacua on your bench, but I'm not I actually am not as big on Ridley as anybody else. So you know what? I'll sit Calvin Ridley. Give me my boy Puka in your starting lineup.
Josh.
Yeah, that's honestly what I was going to say, is sit Calvin Ridley, which again pains me to say. I think after the whole sideline blow up, they're going to make a concerted effort to get AJ Brown involved on Monday night. CeeDee Lamb right now, there's no fucking way you can bench him. Same thing with Puka Nacua. Ridley's coming off a bad game. You can beat Houston a lot of different ways. There is zero need right now to get the wide receivers involved when Travis Etienne can run for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns against that defense. So I'm going to sit Ridley on the hope that they just run the football this week.
If you look at their technical matchup of who they are playing against, Calvin Ridley technically has the worst matchup against Derek Stingley. I'm not for that reason, but I am sitting Calvin Ridley because Puka Nacua is just
hard to bench.
Yeah, you can't. The only way you're even considering benching Puka Nacua right now is if they say, well, or if they announce Cooper Kupp back, which they can't do because he's on IR.
Not happening for 2 more weeks.
Yeah, so
I'll just say, because I mean, I was in a position like this last week. I had Travis Etienne, Chris Olave, Bijan Robinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and DJ Moore, and I sat Puka. I won, but that was a hard decision because who the fuck are you going to sit in that roster? It's a good lineup. I'm sitting DJ Moore this week because I don't like his matchup, and Puka's in the lineup. Everybody else stays because they're all absolute dogs. So yeah, it's not an easy question. Real quick, Adrian, I'll just sum it up. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Really
Minnesota sucks. It doesn't
It's
matter.
honestly, it's not even going to matter. This really isn't even a question, probably until week 8.
Yeah, until you know more. Yeah.
When Akers is hurt.
Yep. All right, trade question, Ryan, then we'll get to your stream of the week before we dive into the rest of these questions. Saquon, Kyren Williams, Deebo Samuel, Mike Evans for Bijan and Calvin Ridley. It's a half PPR. He has Diggs, ETN, Brian Robinson, and Rashad White. So his team would be, after the trade, Bijan, ETN, Brian Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Stephon Diggs. What it currently is ETN, Saquon, Kyren Williams, Deebo, Mike Evans.
That's a lot to give up for just Bijan and Calvin.
You're shooting yourself in the foot at wide receiver. I can't make that trade.
I would ask for another receiver in return.
I was going to say, even if it's just somebody that, you're probably not starting, you got to get at least one more piece in return, because your bench, or you're dropping now, 2 players?
Yeah, I mean, obviously
you're going to drop Rashad White.
No,
no. He's going to be able to pick up 2 players.
Yeah, he'll be able to pick up 2 players.
But you got to get another wide receiver back. This is too much.
Yep,
I love Bijan. This is too much.
Just look to get another receiver in the trade. It's not a bad
honestly, you know what? Now that I look at it, before I even look at this deal, I'm looking at who's on waivers to pick up. If there's 2 people that I can conceivably grab, I'm making this deal all day, every day, because right now, Kyren Williams' value is not going to be any higher. You're trading Saquon off an injury. Deebo is the second fiddle on his team, and this basically is you're upgrading to Calvin Ridley from Mike Evans, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm going to do this trade. But I would try to see if I could maybe include Rashad White in that deal and get rid of him.
Just to get him off your roster.
Yeah, just kick him out. Yeah. All right, Ryan, your stream of the week. Go.
Yeah. Week 3 streams of the week, all available in more than 50% of ESPN leagues. We absolutely crushed it last week, and this week already feels like deja vu. Same quarterback, same tight end. How in the world is Hunter Henry available in this many leagues? He is literally the tight end 1 in fantasy. He has scored a touchdown in each of his first 2 games, and the Jets just gave up 2 tight end touchdowns last week. Hunter Henry all day. Jared Goff all day. Jared Goff at home all day. He's the QB8 on the season, 576 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jordan Love was just the QB10 against Atlanta, and now Goff gets him at home. He's a cheat code at home. You want Jared Goff this week, and I'm going to keep picking on the Chicago Bears. You want the Kansas City Chiefs defense as your stream of the week. I don't believe the Bears score a touchdown this week. The Chiefs just held Jacksonville without a touchdown. This is a much worse offense, and now they're in Kansas City. As long as they don't play down to their opponent, it's going to be another 10 fantasy points. Those are the week 3 streams of the week. Full article tomorrow.
Woo! Okay, flying through these. Bronson, AJ Brown, or Devontae Adams? Ryan.
Is this all season, all week?
This week.
Season, AJ Brown. If it's this week, AJ Brown.
Josh.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown is going to have a blow up week because he blew up on the sideline last week. That is exactly how it works with star receivers. They both have great matchups. I don't know how you're deciding between these 2 guys. I would fit both of them in your lineup because Pittsburgh secondary is terrible as well. Find a way to get them both in your lineup. How do you feel about Miles Sanders? Josh brought it up. Feels really good.
I like him this week. I think if you can utilize a big week this week to maybe move off of him to get someone else, I'm fine with it. But the problem is there's so few elite running backs right now. I think it's okay to just hang on to Sanders and use him as a volume play RB2.
Yep. ASD, try flip Everett for running back or try and get Amari Cooper from waivers?
We'd get Amari Cooper from waivers. I don't know what running back you're going to be able to get for Jared Lever right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try. I mean, just
there's nothing wrong with trying.
And then also get Amari Cooper from
Nobody's
waivers.
trading you for nobody. If Hunter Henry's available in
you don't know.
Of the league,
you don't know, Ryan.
There better be a Chargers fan.
You don't know. Ted's asking, trade Fields for CeeDee Lamb.
I would do it in a heartbeat, but it depends on who I have at quarterback and what the settings are. But
if you can go get Jared Goff.
I was saying, if Jared Goff's out there.
If Jared Goff is out there, I'm going to make this trade.
Jordan Love's out there in that many.
Hell, even Jordan Love too. Yeah.
I mean, I would also do the trade as well. I like Fields a lot the rest of the season, but
the only way I'm not making this trade is if it's a super flex or a 2 QB league.
Yep.
Or maybe a 16 team league.
Daniel, did he? Okay, we already went over this one. I
Yeah,
think
we
he
got
asked
that
that one from Twitch. Yes. Okay. Same question. Beautiful. Parker, would you do this trade? Get D-Hop and Mixon for Ayuk and Rashad White. Keep Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, best player in that trade is Brandon Ayuk. You don't
Yeah,
wanna be on that
that's
side of
kind
it.
of what I'm leaning. The moment I saw White, I'm like, get rid of White, and I'm like, no, I want to keep Brandon Ayuk.
That's
cut White and go get another running back.
This is very much a 1 and 4 for a 2 and a 3 because player 1 is Ayuk, player 4 is Rashad White. Like this is a very clear 1-4 for 2 and 3.
Very fair trade. I don't trust the Tennessee offense, plain and simple.
Yeah, keep the 1 in the situation. Keep Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Cooks is also on waiver. Bro, what league are you in? No, again.
Cooks is probably on waivers in a lot of leagues, not playing in 2 weeks.
I was gonna say I ended up having to drop him in one league. I did. I mean, but he was my 5th wide receiver, and he was
still
hurt,
want Cooper.
and I needed to fill in a
yeah,
running
but
back.
like
Brandon Cooks ain't hitting 10 targets a game, plain and simple. Amari Cooper is.
Oh no, I agree. Amari Cooper in the situation, but like,
yeah,
really,
I'm gonna grab Cooper. I don't really love. I mean, it's you want Cooper. He's the wide receiver 1 on his respective team. Cooper or Cooks is not, and right now he's not seeing the targets that I think Joe, you and I thought he would be at this point.
Injuries.
He was hurt last week too. But
Start 3: Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Kyren Williams, James Cook, Mike Williams. It is a PPR. Ryan.
So how many am I not starting?
That's
2.
You're not starting
so
2 of them.
I'm gonna bench Kyren and Mike Williams.
Josh
Williams is.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm sitting Kyren. Walker's got a great matchup. Gibbs without Monty should eat. And James Cook has a pretty good matchup this week. Who are the Bills playing?
They play in Washington.
Yeah.
All right, maybe the matchup isn't that great, but the way that they're using him is elite usage. So it's not going to matter to me. So yeah, give me Cook. Sit Mike Williams and sit Kyren Williams.
Because of Ryan's curse, I'm going to say sit Kenneth Walker.
Don't do that.
No, sit Kyren Williams. Yeah, sit the Williams is the only thing that would change this is if David Montgomery plays. Maybe then I'm sitting Gibbs, but if Montgomery doesn't play, Gibbs is going to have a hell of a day. RGQ benched wide receivers Shaheed and Tank Dell. Thoughts on these guys? Anyone on the wire that may be better? Shaheed's money. I absolutely love Rashid Shaheed. He is the deep threat. We talked about for a couple weeks on the show how much Derek Carr loves the deep ball. Tank Dell had a good week, and Houston is going to need to throw to stay in games. So
yeah,
Tank
I'm
Dell's
definitely
good.
not moving off of Tank Dell. If Josh Reynolds is out there over Shaheed, that's a 50-50 ball for me. So
that's fine. Yep.
Yeah, I like both these guys as stashes. I would prefer Dell over Shaheed personally, just because I think Dell is going to get a lot more involved, but I like both these guys.
Fair. RG, this is great. A kicker question. He's saying he doesn't feel comfortable Miami kicks enough field goals this week. Well, Jason Sanders is demoralized after Brendan Schooler absolutely dicked him down on the greatest field goal block ever known to mankind. Thank God we have that one takeaway. Brett Maher or Nick Folk? I should know.
I'm going to yield to you guys. This is how little I know about kickers or pay attention to kickers. I can't even tell you what teams these guys are kicking for right now.
Well,
this is not good.
Brett Maher is kicking for the Rams, and Nick Folk is kicking,
Titans, right?
Kicking for the Titans. Now I'm going to make this easy for you. Nick Folk is in Cleveland. The weather there always sucks. Now, Nick Folk also doesn't give a shit about your weather. Okay?
And Brett Maher's in Cincinnati.
Yeah, but that's not lake effect weather. I would go Nick Folk. Nick Folk is he's money inside 50. He doesn't miss. So I would go Nick Folk if you're deciding between that. Ryan, do you want to weigh in?
No.
Great. Pick 2, Mostert, Pierce, or Moss. And Moss. We're all sitting Dameon Pierce.
Moss sucks this week too, though. But yeah, bench Dameon Pierce.
Bench Dameon Pierce across the board. Also, Nico Collins, Josh Reynolds, Hunter Henry. Pick
Nico.
1.
Not even close. Nico.
Can't bench Nico Collins. I love Hunter Henry. Can't bench Nico Collins.
Nico Collins. Houston has to throw the football to stay in the game, and they're looking at Nico Collins. Dynasty trade. IDP. Woo! Breece Hall, Jamison Williams, Trey Palmer for Hunter Henry, Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, and Quay
I'm going to say if
Walker.
Brees is involved in this trade, that has to be Derrick Henry.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're
And
right.
I still don't make that trade.
No. I mean, Joe, you can probably weigh in more on the IDP stuff, but
Quay Walker makes it interesting because Donald and Chris Jones are getting towards the end. Well, Chris Jones is not as old as I think he is.
No, he's not. He's going to sign a. He's going to sign a big deal.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest Chris Jones IDP fan. He's good. Let me get this straight. Chris Jones is good. Why was he
it
great?
All depends on the settings with IDP, though. I feel like it's so much more. There's so much more wide variety with IDP settings than there are with offensive settings.
I agree with you. Okay. Chris Jones was all world last year. Because why? Contract year. Yeah. Every other year, Chris Jones has been hot and cold, right? He is a very good defensive tackle. If you were to ask me right now, he doesn't even rank inside my top 3. And if I had to go through, might not even be in the top 5. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not moving Brees.
Yeah. Aaron Jones, Aaron Donald, end of the rope. Quay Walker has been on fire. But no, Brees Hall is the jewel in this trade. Jamison Williams will be great when he comes back. Keep the Brees Hall side of the trade. Flex, Terry McLaurin, Adam Thielen, Jacoby Myers, or Christian Kirk, Ryan?
Probably Kirk.
Josh?
I don't mind Myers this week if
I would want to, I need to hear more about Jacoby Myers in general. But yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Where's the Raiders on the Steelers?
Raiders Steelers Sunday Night Football in Las Vegas.
Yeah. God, Kirk is.
The problem is you're waiting until Sunday night.
I know.
Now, if you hear he's cleared concussion, it's Kirk or Myers. It's not Thielen, though. Thielen.
Yeah, I'm not loving McLaurin this week. Thielen, they're targeting him. His ADOT is really low. If he gets into the end zone, it's okay. But I know we talked a little bit about, Seattle's and their funnel defense. But
I'll say, and Joe, you talked about people's rookies' first time in Denver. This is going to be Bryce's first time in the 12s. I don't think it's going to go well for him.
I am worried about that.
If he even plays, mind
There's
you.
that too, yeah.
I am worried about that. I do like Thielen if Bryce Young plays still. But
I was going to say, honestly, I like Thielen more if Andy Dalton plays, truthfully.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I'll go Christian Kirk. Matchup is great.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll repeat last week, but even then, Ridley was getting targeted.
Even if you get half of that, I think you're making
Ridley was getting targeted. Zay Jones had 6 targets, and he just missed a touchdown. They just pushed him out. And Kirk obviously had a great game. So they can get all 3 guys involved. So Christian Kirk, but if you hear beforehand Myers is clear concussion protocol, Jacoby Myers. There you go. Waivers are stacked. We're talking kickers. I love it. Go get Amari Cooper. If you Justin fucking Tucker is on your waivers. There's no way
that's crazy.
Right. Tucker Carlson on the waivers though. That's weird. Didn't know.
He belongs there.
Yeah, keep him there.
But okay. First off, go drop whatever kick you have and pick up Justin Tucker. That's fucking absurd.
Yeah, and then go get Amari Cooper.
And then go get Amari Cooper. Yeah. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison. Who do you think should start at wide receiver 3? Just subs to the new channel. Sean, appreciate you.
Shout out, brother.
Zay Flowers, Ryan, you brought this up. You think he has a good week this week, but Jordan Addison has been getting a lot of run, and will.
I'm not benching Jordan Addison right now, plain and simple. So.
Yeah, he's been.
You can throw all over the Chargers.
Yep.
Like I want everything to do with Jordan Addison this week.
Their defense sucks. Yeah, Jordan Addison definitely this week. Just got offered Eckler for Puka. Other receivers are Chase, Devontae Adams, and Cooper Kupp.
Go get Austin Eckler.
Go get Austin Eckler.
That is the epitome of selling high.
This is why you get these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think Puka is going to be fine the rest of the year. You cannot replace high volume, high level running back play. I know that Eckler is hurt right now. When he comes back, he's fire. He's a guaranteed top 3 running back. Give me Austin Eckler in this deal.
There you go. 49ers or Chiefs defense this week. Don't overthink it. The 49ers defense.
Do not bench the 49ers defense.
Don't overthink this one. It's a good question because the Chiefs have a great matchup. The Cowboys blanked the Giants, and they had 8 months to prepare for them. The Giants, without their left tackle and starting running back, have had 3 days to prepare for the Niners. They're fine. And Thursday Night Football tends to have terrible offense anyways. So, yeah. All right. Is Spears worthy of a pickup with the injury to Derrick Henry? Yes. Yes, we talked about that a little earlier. 100%. There's so many. 1-1 in a 14-man league. 3 wide receiver flex. Lamar, Josh Jacobs, Madison starting, and Jamal Williams. He also, where are we at? Jamal Williams on the bench. Wilson, Dotson, Davis, and DJ Moore, Elijah Moore. Also have Andrews. What move should I make? He wants a running back.
I don't even understand this question.
I'm all over the place. He's looking to, he wants a running back. Who should he look to get rid of?
That's really hard to know without knowing your league, but
Gabe Davis. Try and get rid of Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I mean, if you can sell high on Davis after the big week, I would definitely do that.
It's a 3 wide receiver league. If he sells, he has no wide receiver depth at that point.
Well, I'm sure there's more.
Well, that's fair.
More on the bench that he's not letting us know about, but yeah, I mean, this is really hard without knowing all of your.
Yeah. There's so much that would go into this, but yeah, wait till Gabe Davis pops this week and then trade him.
Yep.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Would you just trade Jordan Addison and Joe Mixon for Ayuk and Rashad White while I get Addison instead of D-Hop? I mean, I'd rather the Jordan Addison side.
I say that is now worth getting rid of Rashad White. Yes.
I'm not as high on Mixon. I'd still rather have Ayuk, but that's just me.
I think the 2-3 in that combination very much outweighs the 1-4 in that conversation. Opinions on trading Kyren Williams and Terry McLaurin for Devonta Smith, and Michael Pittman has ETN, Madison, and Pierce. It's a rough running back room.
Get Devonta Smith.
I say this goes back to the Brandon Ayuk trade.
Get the best player. Yeah, get the best player in the trade. That's Devonta Smith. You figure out the rest later.
And I'm gonna guess this is a wild no. Trade Travis Kelce for Jamar and Montgomery.
Dear God, no. I mean, I get it. Like this kind of is like, you're buying Chase at his lowest because but you're not getting rid of Kelce. He's the cheap code. Yeah, exactly. I think he could get worse, honestly.
Travis Kelce.
Well, I just mean you're still paying top price for him. Travis Kelce and Jamar Chase were a question mark in the first round of your draft. Do you regret taking Travis Kelce? If you do, make that trade. If you don't, and you shouldn't, do not make that trade.
Exactly. All right. A lot of questions. We love all of you. Thank you for all the questions. We try and keep this at an hour. There's a few things we didn't get to, but that's totally fine.
Yeah.
We'll just do them next week.
If this is how the show ends, this is how the show ends. I love it.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for all of the new faces that we saw today. Please subscribe to the live.
A lot of new subs. Appreciate that. If you haven't subbed, please do. We go live like 5 times a week. A lot of shows on the channel, and a lot of good content at clubfantasyffl.com.
Boom. All right. For Josh, Ryan, myself, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Make sure you subscribe. We are live with No Pun Intended, the flagship show of Club Fantasy every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. We will see you